This is going to go over animating in Maya, getting your scene ready and producing it. If you don't see your time slider down here, just go to Windows, UI Elements, and you can turn on and off UI Elements. Unchecking time slider makes it disappear, and going back, Windows, UI Elements, time slider. We already know how to create keys. You select an object, press the S key, move in time. This is going over the production end of animating. Create a new camera, create cameras, and just click on camera. And there's a new camera in the scene. To find that new camera, you can zoom on out. You can also scroll on down in the outliner and find the camera there. And this will be our active camera. To see through this camera, go to Panels, Perspective, Camera 1. And that's what Camera 1 sees. To jump between what the camera sees and the perspective viewport, go back to Panels, Perspective, and Perspective. And you use the perspective viewport to move around your scene, to even animate, and then jump back to camera to see what the camera sees. I'm going to create a quick animation of a camera moving in, pushing into the subject, and then this object will just fall. Jump back to this camera, going to the beginning of the timeline with the camera selected, pressing the S key. To better understand the final rendering, in the final rendering, after you click on Render Settings, the size is based upon your render settings here. I'm going to go for something a lot smaller just to make it quicker. HD 540 or HD 720. Click on this icon right up here in your viewport, Film Gate, and that will show the boundings. If you don't want to see the frosted around it, just click off this icon to get rid of the mask. Toggle that on and off. And after you turn on Film Gate, turn on Resolution Gate to get an accurate understanding of what will be snapshot. So this will be the final rendered frame. At frame 1, your camera's here, and let me increase my timeline. This will be a 10-second animation, need 300 frames. I'll type in the number 300 here. Go all the way over here. You could just use your mouse to zoom in, and since this is the active viewport, we're moving the camera, camera 1. I want to reframe the shot over here. I'll press the S key. If you want to pull the camera back a little further, go back to frame 1 where your first keyframe is, and use the mouse just to pull back a little further. You can recenter the shot and press the S key again. Now, after you put your first key in, you can turn on automatic keyframing so you don't have to keep on pressing the S key. Every move is recorded. For the purpose of demoing it, I'm just going to keep on pressing the S key to let you know when I create a new movement. Going to Option, drag, Option, click and middle mouse button again to focus it like this. That's the start. Maybe after the action is done, I'll come back and change up the animation of the camera. S key. Alright, time to go animate this object. Let's just do something quick. Say around here. Frame 1, S key. Say around frame 120. This object is out of frame. Your goal is to make as many adjustments in the viewport before rendering, even if it's going to be a low resolution rendering or a hardware software rendering, because the more you can adjust in the viewport, the less time wasted while rendering. When you think you got all the timing correct, and maybe you want to select this object and migrate its keys because it's taking maybe too long to get down there, so I selected a bunch of keys, and you do that by holding down the shift key and selecting those keys and just moving them over like that. So all that happens a little quicker. Clicking play and making sure before you click play that you clicked settings, and for settings, playback speed isn't defaulting to play every frame but 24 frames per second. That is the correct setting. And you continue to preview it in the viewport.